Good afternoon, everyone. It's Anifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, my contemplative time has been all about language. And you know that when I was studying in my earlier schooling years, I was always fascinated by Latin. I always loved knowing that these Latin root words were creating a lot of medical terminology that I was really looking forward to learning one day. So I had looked at some Latin root words as I was preparing myself mentally, I guess, to eventually go into medical school. And I love that. I really like knowing why we use words that we use. Now, today I look at Sanskrit and similar idea of why are these words used. So again, Sanskrit was a language that was used a lot for ancient medical teaching. And I find that there's so much more depth in the older the language we look at, there's so much more depth. And it's almost that simpler words are used and they mean so much more. And if we look at things, even from a quantum physics perspective, like we can see that if we're looking at a molecule, we can get finer and finer in our detail till a place comes that things are kind of fuzzy, which is so interesting, right? So again, I think that this also reflects in language, and language has such a usefulness in our communication, right? So today I thought I would talk about a specific term that you might be familiar with, but it's the word Dharma. And again, in North America, we might say Dharma. And of course, it's Dharma, right? So the. So the has a meaning in Sanskrit, which I wanted to share with you. And this Sanskrit meaning is for placer, holder, or supporter. A placer, a holder, a supporter. And I looked into the English version of the Oxford languages, I guess, that is also describing Dharma. And it says, inherent nature of reality. Now, interesting. So, Dharma, the inherent nature of reality. And in Buddhism and Hinduism, it means conforming to one's own nature. So isn't this interesting? So, okay, so that's interesting. That's great. So are we conforming to our own nature? And only you'll know. But of course, it can benefit from some self-reflection time. So I thought I'd take you through a quick exercise and get you to think about what is supporting you right now. And you might be sitting. So you'd say your chair, right? Your chair. I'm sitting on a sofa. So the sofa is supporting me. My support is this sofa right now, but what's supporting the sofa? I might say my floor. You might say your floor. If you're standing, of course, it might be the floor too. You could be outside, and so it would be the ground that's supporting you. What's supporting the ground? And he'd say the earth. The earth is supporting the ground, which is then supporting this couch or your floor, my floor, your floor. And then we'd say, okay, what's supporting the earth? And he'd say, it's self-supporting. The earth supports itself. It's just floating in air. So honestly, we're all floating in air right now, aren't we? So when we come right back to it, it's like, wait a minute, what is supporting that, right? So people would say gravity and, all sorts of forces like that. Yet at the same time, it's not something that's visible that is supporting, right? This is suspended in midair. And here we are, all suspended in midair. Now, the Dharma in Sanskrit teachings we would talk about for the earth is to be a supporter. So isn't that beautiful? So when we look at the earth and what is the earth, it is the supporter. So I think that's so interesting for us to understand that we also all have our own Dharma. And this is probably something that people are more aware of. And it's usually about acting in accordance with one's nature. So I found this wonderful quotation that I wanted to share with you. And this quotation says, it is better to live your own Dharma imperfectly than to live an imitation of someone else's life with perfection. And this is from the Bhagavad Gita. And this is key, right? To live your own Dharma imperfectly than to live an imitation of another's life with perfection. So you would think, well, what do you mean by that? So if I know that I love working with clients, I love healthcare, and I suddenly decide that, you know what, this isn't bringing enough money in, so I think I'd like to work, I don't know, on an oil field. It could be anything. This is my Dharma of I want to help people in health, and I'm very clear about that. Now, not everyone is clear, right? So people will try different things to get to a place of this is the stuff that has some link with my purpose. Like I just know this is right for me. Now, some people working on an oil field is their purpose. They want to be able to help doing whatever they are doing. They could be helping extract oil. They could be helping the business. They could be all sorts of different things, right? Now, someone could be in healthcare and work with oil fields to help the healthcare of people who are working on oil fields. So there's different ways to know your own Dharma, but you will be drawn into what is best for you. Now, if you try to do something because, I think they're having a good time doing this, and I'm going to do that too, it will never have the same energy behind it, right? And we all know this. Like we can all see some parent is a great doctor. They want their child to be a doctor. The child becomes a doctor, and they're not as passionate about it. They're not as compassionate about it. So all of that is something to think about, right? Then I thought today I would love for you to think for 5 minutes after this video and see, are you functioning from your personal Dharma? What is it that you support? What is it? Because what you support is coming from your heart, right? And this is your Dharma, right? So in that, if I think that I really care about women's rights, for example, I would support women's rights. Maybe someone can do it financially. I might do it emotionally for people, right? So that sort of idea. But find out that if you are living your Dharma today, because honestly, that's where the best results come for you and for society around us. So I thought I'd finish today with this one quotation, which I also really love. This is by Gautama Buddha. And it says, Dharma is not upheld by talking about it. Dharma is upheld by living in harmony with it. Isn't that beautiful? So part of my Dharma, you may have noticed, is helping educate people. And I hope that today I've helped educate you just a little bit. I hope today you will think about what your Dharma is, and I wish you a fabulous day ahead. And I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.